What's the deal, everyone? Welcome back to the studio. I'm Jeremy Deal, and today I'm going to teach you a faster way to edit those walkthrough videos with the Insta360 software from my last video. And in the process, I'll teach you how to make these three variants from the same video clip, and you can post them all on different sites, especially social media. Working with this camera is a breeze, and now that I've discovered how easy it is to deliver all these versions from one single video clip, it increases my worth to clients. I'm required to be on site for less time, and I can resize video clips for every single platform and their recommended ratios without having to shoot all those versions in person. That is a definite win for most agents. Not only that, but working with the direction lock makes this editing process a breeze. I am going to assume that you have already seen my first video showing you how to easily create these video walkthroughs. Right over there, if you haven't watched it yet. I recommend starting there if you're new, because I go over how I use the camera on site and a lot of the basic editing steps that I don't reiterate in this video. So it contains all the initial setup stuff to get you started with these video walkthrough tours. With that being said, let's jump on over to the office editing rig and I'll show you exactly how I do that. All right, here we are, and we might as well jump into it. So video editing style number 2 for the Insta360. I've got the software up and I'm just gonna drag in the footage from the last house that I edited. Now, since you've watched my video that I did before this, which I assume you did, I don't have to show you the process of going through and building out all of these little transitions. But what I'm gonna show you instead is how you can take your video footage and use this right here. It's called direction lock. So my last video, I did not use direction lock. This video, I am using direction lock. Now what direction lock does is it allows the camera to face the direction you point it the whole time, as opposed to a fixed north or a fixed east or something like that, like it was during my last video. And I'll show you the difference right here, what that means. So let's go to a point where there's actually some movement, like right here. So without direction lock, you notice how the camera, it just stays pointed forward the whole time. No matter where I move or where I move around the camera and which way I point it, it always faces the same direction. Now let me show you this exact same scene when I put direction lock on, and now it is facing wherever I face the front of the camera, or wherever I tell it to go according to these nodes down at the bottom down here. Whenever you use direction lock from the beginning, it will face whatever way you tell it to go, and it will continue with that movement of the camera. So all of these movements are not built in with little keyframes like I did in the last video. These are all directly related to direction lock right here. So that's the first big step that I can tell you on how to shorten your time, especially if you're moving the camera as you go to where you want to be. Direction lock is where it's at. As you can see, it's just playing right over here to the left. Now, let's talk about the secret juice. Let's talk about why I really like using the Insta360 for these walkthroughs instead of anything else. Let's go ahead and pause this right here. And look, you can see there are very few actual keyframes I have here for the entire video right here. That's simple, all the way to the end, and then we're done. Now, what I'm gonna do is actually come over here to where it says 16:9. If I click this and go to 9:16, you guessed it, now we have a different ratio. Now this might be a bad house to pick to start with because the front yard was short and I didn't think about this in advance. If you look actually over here, you can see the agent with all the dogs waiting around for me. So I didn't get the chance. I should have started the video over here on the corner, because that would allow me in vertical mode to show the entire house. But what I can do instead is give it just a little bit of a distorted view like this. And let's scroll in using that control button. If you hold control, you can scroll in using the middle mouse button. Let's see, we want to look this way and we want to back it out just a little bit. So at least we start with the full house, and we'll tilt it up a little bit. There we go. So now as we play forward, let's see, it should go, and by the time we get here, we want to add another keyframe and go ahead and center this up. There we go. So now, there we go. Then we'll go into the house, just like this. And you will have to make a few little tiny adjustments. I'm gonna scroll back out. Let's see what this one is right here. See, that's the first time I go through all of these rooms and never make a single little adjustment until I get into here. And realistically, there's not much adjusting to do. I'm just gonna leave it rock and roll like that. Let's see what this looks like actually. Oh yeah, hold on. So right here, so we're gonna go from where we walk in the house. I'm gonna add a keyframe that does nothing. And when we get to this point, which is like the furthermost extremity, we're gonna go ahead and add another keyframe, and we're just gonna scoot it over this way a little bit. So that way when you watch from here to here, it actually shows this room just a little bit more. And we're here doing the 9x16. Once again, this is social media content, and then we'll keep rocking and rolling. Everything else should be the same, looking the same. Everything else is looking good. Then we come on over here, keep scrolling forward. Let's see, during this shot, I want it to look more this way. So as you can tell, I'm doing very little adjustments here in order to create a 9x16 variant. Here we go. Let's add another one right here and scroll it back this way. And this is allowing me once again to create 2 clips. Let's see, let's move this over a little bit too. But you see how easy this is, really. I'm just coming in here, adding little clips. Let's see, there we go. Going into, here we go, into the bedroom is where bathroom is where I'm gonna need one for sure. So let's go ahead and move it this way. Go forward a little bit, add another one. Ooh, let's see, that was jumpy. Let's come on in here. Using that control scroll again, we can once again do this. Let's remove that first one. So that way it comes around, shows that, and then there we go, back into the bathroom. And then it's gonna come around, actually right there. Let's go back just a little bit to about right here. I want to be focusing on that shower because as I come out, right here, add that keyframe. Let's see if we remove this one now. We just needed to move it over a tiny bit so that way, whoa. There we go. And into the closet we go, and it'll do a quick little turnaround. Then we'll go back into the bathroom right here. We're gonna add one, and I want it actually to be further this way. So as I'm going in, you can see all of this. There we go, shows the bathtub on the way out. And then rock and roll. You get where I'm going with this. I don't have to show you the entire process. The point is the direction lock. So next time you go to edit one of these, first turn on your direction lock. Number 2, look how easy it is to make the 9x16 and the 16x9 from the exact same clip. 2 different purposes from one walkthrough video. You can even come in here and do a 1x1 if you want, like an actual square ratio that will fill the square like old school Instagram style. You can do whatever you want here. I think the 1x1 is actually kind of a cool ratio because everybody's phone is used to seeing this 9x16 view where everyone looking at the whole view field.
muffle mouth, looking at the whole viewfinder for everything, the whole cell phone. But going back to this 1:1 ratio might actually get you to stand out a little bit. First of all, it shows a little bit more wideness, which is nice. That width really helps make the rooms look larger, and it's just different. It's back to the old school. It might give you that old school kind of vintage vibe. Well, either way, let's jump back to the office and talk about what we've learned.
Now that we're back in the studio, I want to remind you, I always export these in ProRes, and then I do my final editing in DaVinci Resolve. The main reason I do this is because the speed ramping process is much smoother, and as with everything else, I like to finish it off with my dehancer node to match those colors to the rest of my footage styles. Speaking of dehancer, they've actually let me try out their beta for the newest version coming out later this year. I think it's in October, and I'll be making an entire video on it, but man, let me say what a massive improvement in speed and handling with it. They've completely redesigned the core engine of the software, and it runs much smoother. The film damage tool and the tool profiles have had some redesigning, as well as the overall ease of experience use to change the things that you want. If you're currently using Dehancer, then you'll get this updated version for free when it drops, so be on the lookout. And if you don't use Dehancer yet, but have been thinking about pulling the trigger, that price will go up with the newest version release, so if you buy the current version at the cheaper price, you'll actually save yourself a little money. I think it's like $100. You can check out my affiliate link below for a discount to Dehancer and all the products I've talked about in today's episode, from the software to the hardware and just about everything else I use on shoots through all my other links. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. You know the spiel. Keep rocking and rolling. Enjoy what you're doing. Make smart business decisions. And let me know how much you like this new way of editing the videos in the comments below. I will catch you next time. Boom!